I made a career change late in life. I'd worked in factories my whole life. Spent about 17 years in a factory outside of Mattoon, and saw it was going nowhere. And I wanted more. I wanted more time. I wanted more out of life, and I wanted to not be miserable. Man that used to cut my hair in Decatur opened a barber college. He called me and invited me to his first class, and I didn't think about it. I didn't think twice. I didn't second guess it. I just said okay. Had no idea if I could cut hair or not. I just knew I was good with people. So, and when I was getting through, Brandon Lockhart had asked me if I would work at one of his downtown shops for about 5 months because he needed some help. During that time, the name Tuscola just kept popping up. People from Douglas County were coming all the way to Decatur to get a good haircut, and they got to know me, and they knew that in 5 months I was going to be leaving Decatur, and I checked it out. I found out that there was a downtown to Tuscola I'd never even been to, and found out that Floyd's Barbershop, who two ladies had owned since 1999, were ready to retire, and the shop was for sale. So I cautiously asked them if I could rent a chair for a few months and just see. I was very hesitant. A lot of small towns are very cliquish, and it was a small town. I didn't know, can I make a career in this town for myself? So I tried, and surprisingly, this town was extremely receptive. And so I made the decision to buy the place, and then since then, business has just grown and grown and grown and grown. We've made a lot of really good friends here. We've made a lot of good business associates. I joined the Tuscola Oddfellow Lodge. We feel like members of the community. We're treated like members of the community already. This town has just blown me away with its overwhelming kindness and its welcoming feel to a couple of outsiders, my wife and I, and Connor, my bulldog. He's at the shop with us all the time. I think there's a reason that I got a phone call to go to barber school, and I believe there's a reason that I ended up in Tuscola. It's very emotional to me that I'm able to provide for my family. I'm able to have a good life and do something I absolutely love for a living. There's very few things in this world that excite me more than turning a child around in my chair and seeing his new haircut and watching the expression on his face. It's heartwarming to me.
I'm Kirby Pringle. I manage the Vault Art Gallery in downtown Tuscola. We've got about 50 local artists, so we're unique in that we're cooperatively owned. All the artists at the art gallery own shares or a share of the art gallery. So it makes it unique in that the artists, not only are you buying when visitors go and they buy artwork, they're buying not only from an artist, but they're buying from an owner. When people come in, they are just amazed at the place. They can't imagine a place like this exist in a small town. And that's one of just the look on people's faces, that their mouths sort of drop open, and it's just like, wow. It is a cornucopia of art, and we've got everything from jewelry to ceramics to woodwork to photography, paintings, sculpture. We have an antique room. We have a new butterfly room that we've opened. We have upstairs, we have a photographer who rents studio space. We have a music teacher who has a music and band camp and teaches kids music lessons. So It's really, and not only is it an art gallery, it's an art center. So we're very proud of the uniqueness, the size, the diversity, and also affordability. So we have a giant variety, it's affordable, it's unique, it's a fun place to hang out. You can spend a good part of an afternoon there. And one thing about artwork that I think is unique too is you can justify buying a pair of socks and underwear and bread and eggs. Those are things you need. And art isn't necessarily something you need, but when you look at a piece of art and you connect with it, it makes you happy. And that's how it is when I look at a fabulous photograph, a fabulous painting, a fabulous necklace. It connects with me visually and sensually, and it makes me happy. And how many boxes of underwear are going to make you happy?
It started as Tuscola Candy Kitchen in 1901, and there were two Greek-American gentlemen who were first-generation Greek immigrants from Champaign-Urbana, Mr. Vakey and Mr. Vreiner, who had shops in Champaign. And they were looking to expand a little bit, kind of following the railroad line. And since Tuscola did not have a confectionery, they decided to come down here. So they opened up a small business, and my grandfather actually was the nephew of Mr. Vreiner, and he came over around 1901, 1902, and worked and apprenticed, if you will, with Mr. Vakey and Mr. Vreiner, and decided that he would like to be in the business. So they told him it would cost $500 to buy the business, and my grandfather didn't have $500, so he went out west and worked on the railroads. And I think, as the story goes, he made $1.50 a day and saved his money and came back, and in 1904 bought the business. So he then continued the business through the 70s. My father was one of 8 children, and all of the children worked in the store. My dad went to the East Coast, decided he wanted to be out of town. And that continued on. As a family, we returned to Tuscola in the mid-60s, and my grandfather took my dad on, and we all grew up in the store. My dad stayed in business through the mid-70s. We all, as kids, decided to leave town because there's nothing like living in a small town when you're a teenager and you can't wait to get out. Our parents encouraged us all to go to college and pursue other endeavors, which we all did. So the store closed in the late 70s, and my dad retired. And it sat empty pretty much for almost 30 years. In 2003, the for sale sign came up in the window, and I was driving through town because I was back in the area, and I got a bottle of wine and went over to my mother's and had Devin come over, and I said, you know, what would be the most outrageous thing you could think of doing? And my mother leaned over and said, you want to buy the store, don't you? So we cobbled together financing from the city of Tuscola, private financing. We borrowed a ton of money, and we took 1.5 years to renovate the space, and we opened in 2004. So we've been open almost 14, 15 years.
But we are right on the corner, and that's important. When people drive into town, they see the Coca-Cola mural, and it's not a fake mural. It's legit, you know? And I guess the anchor is also that we're all things to all people. And, you know, we cater to little kids, we feed, you know, families, we talk to the old people. So all generations can also come into the store and discover it anew.
What we're doing, we're so proud of our town, Tuscola, and what we've been able to bring back to the downtown and bring back as part of, I hope, a re-energizing of the whole town.
Well, my dad was Quentin Weber, and the Weber brothers, if you go around Tuscola, about everywhere you look, they built something here. My dad built 53 houses, and he also helped with remodeling the candy kitchen. He also helped rebuild the rectory at 40 Martyrs and the old hotel. He just did a lot of work around here. Another one of my brothers, Bernard, also helped in building the swimming pool. And so just pretty much everywhere you look. I had another uncle, Elmer Jr. He was a postmaster, so he knew everybody around town too. Another one was Verlin, and he did the accounting for Bernard. And then there was Everett, who also helped with Bernard with a lot of the work there. So Elmer and Teresa were the mother and father. They lived in Villa Grove, but moved to Tuscola and lived the majority of their life in Tuscola. Well, including my dad, there's 6 brothers, and they had 3 sisters. You know, my dad had to stop in the 8th grade with his education. All of them had to stop early before they graduated high school to raise money to feed the rest of the family. I always remember my dad sharing a story. At church, they only had one good pair of dress shoes for the kids to wear, so they had to alternate as far as who got to wear the dress shoes to go to church. They went into the military. He went in the early 1940s, and they learned their construction when they were of the trade when they were in the military. He did a lot of work there and a lot of his construction there. So when they came back from the military in the 40s is when they started. I don't think people really realize how many houses they did build around here, unless the owners, whenever they tried to sell them, they always said that Quentin Weber built this house. That would be a place that's going to be sturdy. They always did honest work. They're trustworthy. They didn't cut any corners on anything. It's made with the best. I remember out Jim Donnelly, who has recently passed away. He always told me that his house never had a crack in it. He said all these other people, their houses are cracking in the ceiling and on the side walls and stuff, but he goes, ours never did. Because when my dad built something, well, all of them, when they built something, it was made to last. He was one of those that never cut any corners, didn't take breaks. You always worked as hard as you can to the best of your God-given ability. First house that he built was our house, and then the last one that he built was my oldest sisters. They are a vital part of Tuscola and all the work that they did. He just loved the hometown, and they just had a lasting impact on Tuscola.
So me and my business partner moved to Tuscola almost 7 years ago, and everybody always wants to know, like, why Tuscola? Why'd you come to Tuscola of all the places in the world? So coming out here and visiting and seeing, how affordable everything was, and that the town seemed very, business friendly, that kind of motivated us to kind of take the plunge. My business is Vintage Karma. It's a tattoo studio. I started the business 11 years ago, and it was located in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. It was just me. It was just a one-person business for the first handful of years. Whenever we moved out here, we kind of decided to try to make it kind of like half tattoos and half of a retail space, and that worked out for a couple years a little bit, but the tattooing just really started exploding. And so next thing you know, it's like, okay, well, let's add an artist, and then that kept going great. And then it's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to move the shop from the little second story area where we were at. We're gonna have to move down to the main floor. We don't, we need more room. The lion's share of the business now is the tattooing. Crazy to think, going from a business that 7 or so years ago was just one person barely scraping by, to here we are. We've got 4 people making a full-time, living wage. And even though we're in this little tiny small town in the middle of the cornfields, we're able to, have people come from long distances just to have, have the Tuscola experience, have the Vintage Karma experience, and we're just so blessed. Me and my business partner, Laura, we were doing some building work, and we went up into the crawl space and we found all these collars, and it was like, what is this stuff? I knew that the building had been previously, the upstairs had been an Oddfellows Lodge back since the building was built in the 1890s, early 1890s till the 1950s. And so from there, I was just like, it was like a treasure hunt. I had to learn more about it. This is a group that's still around and still very active, but people just didn't know about it anymore. And I really had been looking for something in my life to be a group kind of socialization thing. The Oddfellows really kind of filled that hole that I'd had in my life. We joined a lodge in Arthur and were a member there for a couple years. And a group of us decided that, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we got the lodge started again? That was 3 years ago, and now we're up over 35 members. And we're doing a lot of projects, and we are made up of a very diverse group of people. A lot of us are working artists or musicians or any sort of, we got a lawyer, we've got a sheriff's deputy, we've got vet techs, we've got all sorts of people from different walks of life in our group. And it's fantastic, and we get to come together and do all sorts of different projects, either for fun or for charity. It's whatever we want to do, as long as it's, helping the community. I didn't know what I would expect coming out here. A lot of people told me I was committing career suicide. It was definitely a leap of faith. I guess I want people to know that Tuscola is a welcoming place, and it's a vibrant community, and there's a lot of things that are happening in this town that a lot of people are coming here and taking a chance on. It's been a great ride.
Well, I'm Catherine McCumber, and Tuscola is my hometown. A friend of mine started kindergarten in 1960, and it was a private kindergarten. After I taught kindergarten, I started the work and play nursery school. Anyway, we observed all the holidays and birthdays, and birthdays was a big thing in nursery school. And when it was their birthday, they got to choose the cake they wanted, and they got to be teacher and sit at the head of the class. There's lots of little stories you can tell. And Becky Leeds had a daughter named Marcy, and at this particular time, we were studying about the trees, just the trees in our area, the local trees, so they could recognize them and know them. And so I gave each one a little tree, probably about 12 inches high or so, and her mother, and she planted it. And then every year, Becky Leeds would come and get me, and we'd take a picture by that tree. The class was ready to start, and this was a nursery school. And I said to the children, well, Blair Wilson is not here, and Joe Sluter is not here. And so anyway, they weren't in the classroom, and the children said, oh, they were outside by the door, they should be in. So I went outside, and no, they were not there. So I came in and I called Blair's home, because she just lived a house away from me. I called Blair's house, and Blair Wilson, and she answered the phone. And she said, we're sick today, we're sick, but I could hear Joe talking, and pretty soon she said, we need rest, But it was just always a joy. At the end of each school year, I had a picnic at Urban Park. First, we would have a program, or else we had a play, and they each learned a part. And so, parents loved that. But each year then, the fire chief would come, and his name was Dennis Dietrich. And every year for 30 years, he came, and the children and I'd all get on the truck and ride, ride in the park and all. They loved it. So there are just so many things. And when I looked at the albums at that last class in 1990, then I was presented 3 albums of pictures and pictures they drew of me, and they knew that I liked color blue, so often in my picture I have blue hair. And, oh, well, for 30 years then, I had the honor of teaching over 1,000 children in kindergarten and preschool. Yeah. I felt it was a blessing, you know. I think it's what God called me to do.
We are having so much fun here in the studio. We got a full house here tonight.
And they're sticking around with us, and we hope you are too.
Absolutely. We have got some thank yous, but before I do the thank yous, if you have not had an opportunity to call tonight, now is your time. We have 6 people behind me just waiting to take your call. A couple newbies. We got David Porter. You probably know him. Has something to do with the newspaper. Right. I'm not sure exactly what he does. And Alan, yeah. And Cindy Pringle.
Mike. And we still have Richard up here too, so make sure you talk to them. Give them a call right now.
It's too fun. So let's get this blitz going, okay?
Let's get this party started.
Let's get it going. Let's give a thank you to Doris from Tuscola, Martha from Tuscola, Ruth from Tuscola, and she said their son Brian is watching in California.
Yeah,
really?
That's why we stream online. We had a call in earlier from Boston.
That's really cool.
Brenda from Tuscola.
And Shane from Tuscola and Carol from Tuscola.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I have Cindy from Tuscola, Sharon, Jessica, Mike and Linda, and Ron all from Tuscola as well.
Okay, so we've had 26 people call tonight, 26. Let's get to 40. I know that Tuscola has it in you. Let's get to 40 calls in this break, okay? So who's going to be the first one to get on the phone and get one of these phones ringing right now? We know you want to call. The phone number's at the bottom of your screen. $75 for 1 DVD. If you want 2 or more, they're $60 each. A lot of people are calling and they're buying one for themselves and one to give away. So gift it to somebody.
You know what's been really special about tonight is even during the breaks, we've been getting calls. And that's awesome because that doesn't normally happen. You take a break, you watch the show, then you come back and you give us a call. But right now the phones are silent, and that's not okay.
No, that's not okay.
It's not all right, is it? No, it's not all right.
Okay.
So give us a call right now. The number's at the bottom of your screen. Let us know what you think of the stories so far. We've got more stories coming your way, but we've heard a lot of great stories. That last story that
Catherine McCumber.
Yes, what a sweet story. And we know there are a lot of kids who were part of her classes. If you were part of one of her nursery school classes, give us a call and let us know when, and thank her on air, and we'll give that name to her. She's watching at home, I'm sure. So
I'm sure
one
she
right
is.
there, I'm hoping.
Okay, as many children, she taught for 30 years, I believe. So with that said, let's get the phone going for Catherine. My goodness, what an impact she had on the children of Tuscola. Come on, let's get a phone blitz going. Let's do it for Catherine. And she wanted to be here tonight and couldn't, but I'm telling you what, that woman is a little spitfire and such a joy to be around.
Sorry, I'm going to
go
get
ahead.
in the shot right
Go
here.
ahead.
Hey, I've got Mike Carroll right over here, and Mike was one of the people who helped interview some of the storytellers and was a champion. I'm going to let you get that. So I wanted to give you just a moment to say something. You said you wanted to thank
Yes, I wanted to thank EIU. It's my alma mater, my wife's alma mater. She teaches down the hall here.
Yeah.
Most of us went to Eastern. It's a great service you do for the small towns.
Thank you.
I want to, I'm very proud of all the people that volunteered to talk. You know, public speaking is petrifying for a lot of people, so it took a lot of courage for people to come forward and give their talks. And they all did a great job. And I'm really most proud of Tuscola. I think these stories, these vignettes show that Tuscola is diverse, caring, nurturing, and it's a great place to live, and it's a really wonderful place to win a football game tomorrow night.
There you go, and there you have it. Cola Wars tomorrow night. It's been a pleasure working with you, and thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
Jana, over to you.
So what he's saying is Tuscola is going to win the game tomorrow night, right?
I think that's what he's saying. That's what I heard.
So I wonder if the people that are watching think that Tuscola is going to win tomorrow night. I think they are.
I think they are. We got Cola Wars.
You know what? We're getting things started tonight with Tuscola. This is our story. So let's get some good vibes going, okay? So going back to, if you are a Tuscola Warrior fan, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Warrior Pride.
Yeah, if you are one of those. Mike even brought, Mike, was that your jacket that's hanging over here? Doesn't fit anymore, doesn't matter. We need to bring that jacket over
Ramin,
here.
I don't know if you can get that on
you
over
go
there
get
or
it?
not. Over there on the set.
Ramin, you can't?
Ramin?
Ramin.
No?
Oh, okay.
We're on right now. He doesn't want to go on yet. Well, we'll get you over there in a minute. We'll get a
grab-
shot of that in just
yeah.
a moment. That's Mike Carroll's Letterman jacket from high school.
go get
What
it.
a special thing.
I'll go get it. I'll go get it. You talk.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. What I'm going to do is try to get you to give us a phone blitz. We have Richard over here. David's off the phone. And we've got everybody over here on. We need 2 more people to call right now. Get us up to that 14 number this time. Richard's like, come on, give me a call right now. So David has been taking an order right there for a DVD. And here comes my co-host, Jana, right here. Look at this, Mike.
Warrior Pride, right?
She's got your jacket on. Yeah, baby.
What year do we got here? What's it say?
65.
65.
Yep, it says 62 Ocala Valley Champs over here. We've got Regional Champ 62 here. What's on the back? Nothing on the back? That's a nice looking jacket right there,
nice.
Mike Carroll.
It is nice. You know what? This is very well made too. It's nice. It's really nice.
Very well made.
Yeah, it's very well made, and it's really cold in here. So hey, now we got a coat to wear in here.
But it's getting hot because we're getting some phone calls, and
Yes,
we want
we are.
to keep those phones burning right now. The number's at the bottom of your screen. If you have not called, your phone, your cell phone sitting right there, you're kicked back in your recliner on the sofa, whatever it is, laying in bed this time of night maybe, you give us a call right now and order one of those DVDs because this is the only place you can get it.
Yeah, a lot of people say, why does WEIU do this? Well, we do it because we are a public television station. Who else besides WEIU, being your public television station, would come to Tuscola, invite people in your community to share their story, the one they want us to tell about Tuscola, and then somebody would make a program, an hour and a half of your stories. You're not going to find anybody else to do that.
No, you're
There's
not.
no way.
A lot of times when stations come to a town, it's because of an emergency situation, something like that. Well, we're here to talk about all the good things
stuff,
that
yeah.
make up your community,
Yeah.
all the people, the places, the businesses,
Yeah.
the sports, all the unique things that make up Tuscola, and that's what we're celebrating tonight.
That gave me goosebumps just thinking about it, because you think how many communities would really love to have a program just about their town. You know, you think about your hometown, and a lot of people, you know, go on to college and they go wherever, but you always remember your hometown. I mean, who doesn't love their hometown?
Well, there's a lot of people that love it here tonight. We've got so many people who are sticking with us. The phones are still
Yeah, come
ringing.
on, keep on letting
We've
them ring.
got 3 phones available right now. Give us a call. Give us another phone blitz. We said we wanted to have at least 14
Yes.
calls this time. I don't know what we're up to, but I think we're going to have some thank yous.
Well, I think if you're a Tuscola Warrior, oh, that's the people
There we
in the
go.
other
Look at
room.
that. That's our control room right there.
I saw the mayor. The mayor is
Behind the
there.
scenes.
There's Fred. Hey, Fred. Our producers and
Kelly.
Kelly.
We're having so much
You know,
fun.
that's what it's all about, but we need you to get on the phone right now and call us. If you are a Tuscola Warrior fan,
Yeah.
you need to get on that phone right now. Look at who our storyteller right behind me right now. He told the story about the
Yep, Alan
Warriors.
Patton did.
And about
right
the
there.
sports.
He's taking
Wow.
a phone call right there. Ramin's coming back in here. He's going to get some more people on camera here in just a moment.
give us
We've
the-
got the cameras rolling all around the studio right
Richard
now.
is the only one not on the phone, so get on the phone right now. If you want to talk to Richard,
Yep.
he's all about old cars and all that
Yep.
fun
Hot
nostalgia
cars,
stuff.
sweet rides. Give us a call
Yeah.
if you like those too.
And you know, talking about sweet, this coat that I have on right now, it smells like a football player. Smell it. It smells.
Smell it.
It's been, I don't know, but it smells like football. I'm telling you.
It smells like a winning game to me.
Yes, I bet you there were a lot of games won in this.
Well, we've got some champions.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Keep on calling.
Keep on calling.
Richard needs you to call him right now. The phone number's at the bottom of your
We need
screen.
one more phone to ring,
on.
and we've got a phone blitz again.
Yes,
Come
we
on,
do. The
people,
phones are
let's get
working
that.
right.
Come on, Richard. Who knows Richard Bean sitting right
Yeah,
here?
Richard.
And he's ready to answer your call.
He's ready. He's ready right now.
He's ready and waiting.
Cindy's on the phone. She's having a good time. We are having a blast in this studio tonight. I can't even talk. But we're so excited that you are calling, and that's telling us that you value WEIU and you value all these storytellers stepping up to the plate and really coming out of their comfort zone in order to tell story about their community. It's not easy for them to be able to tell a story, and I tell you what, they've done a fantastic job.
They have, and that's exactly what Mike was saying earlier when I talked to him. We want to thank the volunteers, the storytellers, the people who are calling in to support tonight. This is all about public broadcasting. We need someone to call Richard. Look at him. He's like, come on, I want that phone to ring.
We're keeping that on him till that phone rings right now.
Come on, someone pick up that phone, sitting right there beside you, watching at home, wherever you're at in the world. We're streaming online. Give Richard a call right there.
Having a problem?
Nope. There you go.
Okay.
Microphone's covered up.
We'll take this off. I messed up my microphone a little bit.
That's all right.
You can
We're going to hang on to this.
Okay, right now, right now,
here we go.
we have had so many people call this break, but we are not through with this break yet. So that's telling us you need to get on the phone right now. We love it when we have a phone blitz. Richard's over here. Poor guy, he's sitting there all alone. Nobody's calling him.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give 3 thank yous here, and maybe by the time I'm done, that phone will ring. I've got John from Tuscola, Libby from Arcola, and Patricia from Tuscola. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Thank you.
Way to go. Thank you. We've got the colas supporting one another tonight.
That's the way we like it.
Competing tomorrow night, supporting tonight.
You know, it means a lot to us when you take the time to get on that phone and to call in and support a program like Tuscola. This is our story. And for all these storytellers to come here tonight and help us enjoy and celebrate them, it's cool. That's
Absolutely.
really cool.
We want to thank our underwriters as well. We've got some great underwriters for the program. We've got some different food that's been provided. We've got a band who may be joining us later at the end of the show. They gave us a little ditty earlier. But right now we're going to get back to the show. We've got some more stories coming your way, so don't go anywhere. Keep those phones ringing.
Enjoy the show.
My dad started driving a school bus in the early 60s, and then in 1973, him and my mom bought the buses from Bill Betzel. And shortly after that, we moved into where the bus business is now today, and that's where I grew up. I started driving and working on the buses when I was 9 or 10 years old, and driving around and fueling them and helping my dad. And Mom drove and Dad drove, and my sister, you know, we were all there as a family doing everything we could to make the business work. And at the time we had nine big bus routes and 1 little bus route as is a mini bus, and it kind of has grown from there over the years. When we first buses that we got or have, you know, back in the day, they were all manual shift, and the heat wasn't very good. They just had 1 little heater up in the front, and manual shift, no power steering, and windshield wipers weren't very good. And today they're all power steering, power brakes, and push button to open the doors, and I mean heat throughout the whole things, and air conditioning. The routes have changed in the sense that there are fewer country kids. You used to stop at every country house there was in the country, and now you pick up subdivisions and you run more city routes. We didn't pick up a kid in town back in the 70s at all. It's really cool because you get to see the little 4-year-olds start, and sometimes they're nervous and they're scared and they won't get on the bus, and then you finally get them on there and they're kicking and screaming, and then 2 or 3 days later they're really excited about being on the bus because it is fun. You know, they find out that the bus driver's not this big mean, you know, guy that's going to haul them off somewhere that they're never going to get to go home again. And the other kids are on the bus are fun, and they'll talk to them and be nice, and it's a fun bus ride. And then you watch them grow up. I can remember years ago, I had a little boy just like that. Man, he was scared to death to get on the bus because the windows were tinted. He you know, we did everything in the world. It was almost a year before we got him on the bus. And now you see him today, and he's grown up, and he's almost my size, and has this beard, and he's this big burly guy, and he's got little kids. I'm just proud of my name. I try to do a good job and provide, you know, do what's right. I just like, you know, when I'm around town and I can see my bus running around town with a group of kids on it, and I can see the driver doing what's right. Or I'm in Champaign, or I'm going down the interstate and I see one of my buses going down the road, and you know, it's just proud, yeah.
The Douglas County Museum is located in the county seat of Tuscola. We're a non-for-profit museum. We have over 10,000 artifacts at the museum collection, and they come from all around the county. So we have Arcola, Arthur, Tuscola, all sorts of these cities within Douglas County that are represented at the museum. We host a variety of programs and events at the museum, all to kind of let people come in, experience the museum, learn about different local history topics. And then we have exhibits. We have a wonderful research library that people call us to do genealogy research all the time. The very beginnings of the museum started in 1984 when a group of individuals got together and wanted to make sure that history, local history, was saved and wasn't leaving the county. They wanted to keep it local and keep it accessible for the people here so that they could enjoy it. So in 1987, they were able to purchase the Furchow building, which was an industrial building. And before this point, it had been an IGA food liner. So you can see our building is flat, and you can definitely tell it was a grocery store before we came and moved in there. We had a large grant through Cabot, and then many individuals, many community groups all contributed to really get the museum going. So in 1990, they really completed the building. Collection items were coming in this whole time. They started cataloging and sorting items as best as they could with the flow that was coming in. We've been working on really improving the collection storage, making sure that everything is well documented, making sure it's cataloged, making sure it's searchable and it's accessible. We also are getting new items every day. We're adding to our research library every day to make sure that we're bringing as much information as we possibly can to everyone. And then we're also hosting different programs, different events. We do things for people of all ages, people of all interests. I love seeing people's impressions because so many times they see us kind of from the outside in this IGA building. You know, it looks flat, it's gray, it's, you know, kind of behind the scenes a little bit. And then they come in and they say, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be. And they start walking around and then they say, wow, I love these displays. I didn't expect this to be here in this community. And I really hope that that's a sense of pride for the people here. Our historical museum district was formed, which is really exciting. So we're having kind of a big shift coming up here. Externally, it will seem a lot of the same, but internally, we have a basis of support now, which will make sure that we can now concentrate all of our memberships, all of our donations on new programs, new exhibits, and really be able to build the museum and build off of what all of these individuals, all of these community groups started. And this community of Douglas County has really shown that they care about their local history and that they want it here for the next generation.
Today, I would like to talk about the types of things that veterans do for others in the community, in the area around Tuscola, Douglas County. The American Legion does funerals along with the VFW. If any military rites are given, we go to the funerals no matter what. We sell poppies on the weekends, and we collect donations that can help other veterans. The American Legion does the same thing. We go to other posts and do funerals. We also go to other posts and help them if they're in need. Another thing that we do in the VFW is we have something for the children of the high school and the junior high. One of them is Patriots Pen, and the other one is Voice of Democracy. We ended up doing is giving a $500 scholarship to the high school. We have assemblies in November, the November Assembly for Veterans Day, November 11th. Around that date, the high school administrators have kept the kids in school so that they can do something for and with veterans. The kids get a real feel for veterans. I go by and I see somebody with a hat on, and I just say, thank you for your service, and give them a smile. They usually come back with something, or they start telling me a story about where they have been, what they've done, and it warms my heart that veterans will respond to that kind of thing. It's been a very strong county for veterans, and there's been a lot of them in the cemetery. When we do the memorial, there are ones from the Civil War all the way up until the Iraqi War. It's not about myself, it's not about the community, it's about the other veterans that have that heart for doing things for other veterans. We're always asking, is there a veteran in need? Does he need something? Whatever he needs, we're trying to help him through either one organization or another to make sure he is covered.
In 2010, 2 women in the Methodist Church decided to start cooking community dinners. And they were Nancy Reynolds and Jan Chappell. Nancy used to have a restaurant in town, and she was retired, so they started cooking the dinners, and they did it every week. But then they took a break in the summer. And then when they came back, they did it just first Wednesday night of the month. And so it's continued that way. It's good for the community. We get community, not just the church people. There's been times it's talked about, maybe it's time to stop, but they don't want to. We've had older people state that they can't afford to go out to eat, but this is one way they can go out to eat. And people stay around and visit a lot, and it's quite a thing for the church. It's a good outreach program for the church. When they had the Manna Cafe, and I thought, I think that'd be fun to work at, to volunteer at. So I told them I'd volunteer, and before I knew it, I had the list, and I used to call everybody. I like cooking, and I'm always looking for good recipes to put, different things to put. I usually make for 150 people. The most I've had is 169. That was a little bit of a shocker for me. But I came out okay. There were enough kids that ate macaroni and cheese, but I do get help. I've had a couple of ladies, both of them Catherine McCumber and Catherine Kellogg, that used to come in, and they always did the salads and everything for me. I still get lucky and have several that'll come in and help me when I need it. There's a church next to us, and they come over and help us. They'll wash dishes, they'll clean tables or anything. We always have men that runs the professional dishwasher. I mean, the ladies don't learn how to do that. The men do it for us. The Manna Cafe is open the first Wednesday of every month from 5 to 6:30. And it's all volunteer. None of us get paid. And it's good for the church. It's just very, very good for, I think, to bring in the community and also to our members. Gives them a chance to socialize. It just makes me feel good. I'm tired at the end of the day. I'm kind of dragging sometimes. Sometimes I don't make choir practice because I'm tired, but it's a good tired. I've done something good for the community and for the church.